to our International Day of the Girl panel. We can start by, can you like introduce yourselves and what you do in your STEAM field, where you work, and like a project or achievement you're especially proud of?
Is there any particular person who wants to start?
You guys can go in any order you want.
I can go this way. So my name is Meghna Menon. I'm a robotics research engineer at Ford Motor Company, and I work on robotics for manufacturing-oriented applications. A project I'm very proud of that was actually one that I did in college was with the use work in like actuated ankle foot orthotics for like people with like weakness in their ankles.
Hello everyone, my name is Danielle Grate and I work for Stellantis. You might better know us by our brands, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Alfa Romeo, etc. I have been with the company for 8 years and I currently am an operations performance lead for the engineering organization. I would say one of my proud moments or most proudful products will be the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer that's rolling around these days. I was the exterior studio engineer on that project. Bumper to bumper, everything that you can touch on the exterior and some of the packaging as well is me. So that's definitely a moment to be proud of.
Hi everybody, my name is Vitulane. I'm a mechanical engineer and right now I work for a company called Altair. Altair Engineering is based in Troy, Michigan, the headquarters, and we were recently purchased by Siemens, so we are officially Siemens now. I worked with them for them for almost 25 years. Before that I worked at Stellantis for a little bit. My career has made a lot of different paths, still stayed kind of in engineering and IT fields. My current role is what's called Program Management Office, so our company develops a lot of engineering software that is used by engineers to design, analyze for safety, crash, structural stuff, and my part is to make sure the software meets all the quality requirements before it is released to the customers. That is my current role. So since you guys are all into STEM and you want to know about STEM projects, I will tell you about one of my favorite STEM projects. It's actually when I worked at Stellantis. I worked on the side impact safety of a vehicle called PT Cruiser. I don't think it exists in the industry anymore. So we're responsible for the side safety of it to make sure that the doors do not collapse into the passenger compartment when somebody hits you on the side.
Hey, thank you so much. If anybody's curious, you might have seen us around. My name's Ananya. I'm with the 226 Hammerheads.
I'm Weaver from 3604, the Goon Squad.
And my name is Emily. I'm also from Team 3604, the Goon Squad.
Okay, so we can get started now. Do you want to ask the first question?
Absolutely. Was there a specific STEM moment, like a science fair, a coding project, or a teacher that sparked your career path?
Yeah, so I guess I can start. So I have always been kind of interested in science. My parents were always actively encouraging me to do like various science projects and science kits, but I think my spark of getting into engineering and robotics was really driven by, it started with FIRST. So I actually did FLL when I was in 6th grade. And basically have never stopped working in robotics ever since. So basically moved on from FLL, like we had FTC, but then our school mainly decided to go with VEX. So I did VEX throughout most of high school, took various classes as an electrical engineer in college related to robotics, and now I work in the robotics space at Ford today.
For me, a little bit more cliche. Growing up, my dad, he's an absolute car guy, and so I'm a daddy's girl. I'm an only child, so I was always up under him, and so naturally I got introduced into the automotive space and vehicles. When it came time for me to figure out, my high school was a math science high school, but they allowed you to kind of concentrate your junior and senior year, whether it be science, core science, or if you wanted to do engineering. And I chose the engineering route because I said, okay, maybe I can go into automotive. I will also say from a very young age, I started building Connects. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Connects. And so that got me down the path of just building and creating things and seeing things come to life. Still to this day, I'm an avid Lego builder. So yeah, that's my introduction to system.
Mine is kind of organic, I guess. I grew up in India, and my parents, my family is from a farming background, and I didn't even know if I was going to go to college for a little bit. I thought I was going to be happy being a homemaker in my teenage years, but then here I was good at math, and my family members were like, well, you're good at math, well, how about going into engineering field kind of thing, and I wrote in India, we have this admissions test for getting into engineering or medicine, and I wrote the test and I got one of the top scores, and I'm like, why wouldn't you go to engineering then? So I went into engineering, but then I did not want to go into mechanical engineering to start with. I figured I would do more like electrical engineering or something, but I took a woodworking class as part of my first year engineering, and I was like, I want to do this. So I started doing this, and then, though it is difficult as a girl, and that was growing up in India, we didn't have all the tools and the mechanisms, so there used to be a lot of guys who would help out with all the help that they needed. But as I got into more engineering and more greater projects, one of my big projects I worked on is actually, even though it's in engineering, it's really a medical application, which is how your bone grows based on the amount of effort you put on it, which means the shape of your bone, the size of your bone, and I did analysis on that, and those are the kind of projects that are like, oh my God, there's so much to do, fun things to do in engineering, and I didn't look back afterwards.
Were there any like specific classes, clubs, competitions in high school or college that helped you break into the STEM field in general?
I would let these two answer because I didn't go to high school here.
I'll go. So in my high school, like I mentioned, it's a math and science high school, and this was, I would say, freshman year, I got introduced into what we call AOT, Application of Technology class. In this class, similar to what you were talking about, we had a drawing board, we had a T-square, we had our squares, and we were actually drafting. And if anyone has ever taken a drafting class or anything about what a drawing looks like for any type of mechanism part or what have you, it's very intricate. The professors or the teachers are very particular about how things are, the weight of a line matters. That kind of intrigued me, and I actually thought that I was going to go into architectural engineering. Then further on through my high school career, I got exposed to machine classes, milling, using the lathe, actually getting into the mechanics of what goes into everything that we use on a day-to-day basis. And so yeah, from there it was just, I was hooked.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess I already said that I did robotics in high school, so that was kind of an obvious one. But in college, there were a lot of really cool classes that I took. So high school kind of introduced me to this whole thing with coding. Like, I think it wasn't as big. Like, I think back then, people were more focused on building the robot, less on coding the robot, and now there's such an emphasis on coding. But some of that was kind of started there, and then taking a lot of different software classes in college. I also joined like a couple clubs at University of Michigan. So the electric motorcycle racing club was a really fun one too. I worked on the wire harnessing for the electric motorcycle racing team. That was like a new team that started, and then I also did a club called Michigan Health Engineer for All Lives, where you actually take your engineering knowledge and you apply it to like healthcare-based like engineering solutions for low resource settings. And so that was that was also another just really cool way to use like kind of what you learn in robotics, like in like what you do at first to like help people. So yeah.
That's great. Okay. Hold on. Okay. This is one of my favorite questions. What's your favorite part of your job?
I was going to answer that. Honestly, everybody thinks engineering, and actually this came from my kids too. I have two daughters who I really, really wanted them to get into engineering. They stayed in STEM, but they didn't go into engineering. But one of the things that my girls used to say when they were in middle and high school is, well, engineering is boring. It's because you're going to sit in front of the computer and work all the time, and you never get to talk to people ever. And that's exactly not at all what you do. My best part is actually collaborating with my coworkers and making, because you cannot design, you cannot work in a silo on your own. You're always working with them and discussing things. And the other thing is, many times, I mean, I've been working in this industry since 1994, so I'm old, I get it. But in those days, and even many times even now, there's only 1 or 2 women in this entire big conference room while we are discussing and solving problems. And many times what we contribute is completely different what sometimes those guys are thinking. So you being there are actually responsible for very innovative solutions and as part of the discussion. So that is one of my favorite parts.
I'm going to take a different approach, and it's not going to be something technical, so it might be a little off, but my favorite part of my job is the flexibility that I have to do some of my, let's call it, extracurriculars. So the reason why I'm here today is because I'm the president for our Society of Women Engineers organization at Stellantis. I have 2 of my fellow members here with me. And that's one of the things that I'm able to do is to foster and create that community for women in engineering, for other people who I want to see represented in the conference rooms with me, and being able to come to events like this to introduce myself to you all, as well as provide that safe space for other women in engineering at the office. So just whether it's an event, an activity, us identifying or celebrating International Women in Engineering Day, Women's History Month, etc. So having the ability to have a space and then also grow that space within a predominantly male industry is very big and something that I enjoy.
I think for me, I think the best part about being an engineer is that my day is never the same. Some days very similar to what you mentioned, but I will some days be going out and testing vehicles or testing robots. Some days I'll be sitting and like head down working on code. Some days I'll be putting together presentations, and being able to talk to people about engineering is also a very unique skill. Being able to explain really deep technical concepts at like a level that people can understand at different levels is a very unique skill. And yeah, I think like that's a really cool part about being an engineer in general, and in robotics, is being able to do different things every day.
All right, so what's your least favorite part of your job, and how do you go about making it more interesting?
I think my least favorite part is when you kind of get stuck in the mundane things, right? The little things that you just have to do every day. The meetings, right? But it's just something that we have to do. It's a part of the corporate America. It's a part of engineering. And so the way you get, or the way at least I get beyond that, or not let it pull me down, is again, the extracurriculars, but also remembering my purpose or my why. I am very passionate about the work that we do at the company, but also my impact on the work that we do, and being able to, at least right now in the operational position, being able to kind of be the arms and legs of, are we guiding our organization in the right direction? Are we setting the right targets and measuring ourselves efficiently and effectively so that we can provide a good product to the customer? So I always remind myself what my purpose is and what my why is, and then I'm like, okay, Danielle, just 2 more meetings, and then we can be done. We can go get in a car, we can actually experience the products that we make, or we can go innovate and create something.
I guess I can go next. I work in a multinational company, so we have team members all over the world. My least favorite part is opening the laptop and seeing 300 emails. I know you can all probably relate to it. And then I'm like, I have to take care of this other stuff, but I have to make sure I go through all of them, make sure that What I tend to do is try and to solve, like you're saying, is have a whole lot of highlighting and measure and actually rules. I don't know if you have Outlook. I'm going to go a little bit deep into that. So in Outlook, you can create your own rules as if it's coming with only your name in the subject. You have to attend to it first, or if it's coming to your team, or if you're in CC, which means that it's just for information, you don't get to it, that kind of thing. So you create your own rules, you put color coding and saying that, okay, the ones in red is what I need to attend to first, the rest I will attend to maybe during my lunch or later after my meetings are done. So making it easier for me to take care of the stuff that I don't care about.
Prioritizing, yes.
Why is the International Day of the Girl important for inspiring the next generation of girls in STEM?
So I did look this up. Well, so I think that the International Day of the Girl is a lot about gender inequality and kind of breaking the bounds and making sure there's an actual space for women in our industry and healthcare, all different disciplines, right? And so I think we as women and you guys as well, the fact that you guys are engaged in a day like today and a part of these first teams and really getting into this kind of work and being a woman in engineering is not always a cakewalk, and being able to have more women join the field and really kind of bring that excitement and kind of mentoring and kind of feeding the next generation is really kind of how we want to see things expand. So yeah.
No, I think you hit it nail on the head there.
I'm part of the, like she said, Society of Women Engineering Group. In my company, we have what's called Women in Tech. It's called an ERG, Employee Resource Group, and that's exactly what I try to do as well. One is making sure we have more women and more young ladies in part of the workforce, and especially in engineering. But the second more important part to me also is once you're there, that you feel welcome, that you feel like you're part of it, and that and also inadvertently or just by happening that they're not felt like they don't belong there. I mean, I work with coworkers. My coworkers are amazing people and they're always supportive, but sometimes without even their knowledge, they do these little microaggression stuff that women tend to feel it more and men don't even realize that's happening. So my goal is to make sure that they feel that and they understand that. And so I strongly believe that classrooms like this sessions like these are super important.
I agree so much. Thank you for sharing. So my next question would be, what challenges have you faced as a woman in your field, which I think you've touched on, but maybe you could go more deeper into it. And then how have they shaped you? Like, how do they help with your career today? How have they helped with your life outside of your career?
Want me to take that? But believe it or not, I used to be a very, very shy person. Very introverted, and it did not help that, like I said, I did mechanical engineering. I did this in India, and there were 2 women in my classroom, and there were 65 guys, I believe. So it's not an easy cakewalk, and most of them were very helpful, but like I said, while they're trying to help, they're kind of also telling me that I can't do my stuff on my own. And that is what actually got me into feeling like, oh, why can't I do this on my own? And it also helped me shape, because while they're trying to help being a nice person, they're also kind of silently telling me that I'm not supposed to do this stuff. What is out there, right? And having that exposure and it doesn't always have to be school organized stuff. It can be any kind of activities that actually exposes all of us to what's out there, help us understand what does it entail in doing those kind of things.
Do you think robotics and AI will change the opportunity for girls in the future? And if so, how?
Yes. I actually have seen it, and I Again, I've only been in industry 8 years, and I can actually say that I've seen it. As someone who participates in interviews as well as recruiting for my alma mater, North Carolina A&T, I've interviewed many candidates who have partaken in FIRST Robotics or various robotics competitions, majority of them being women. And it is so exciting to see it, and it's so thrilling to understand that, okay, you all are, let's say, transitioning from middle school to high school and then going into college and then ultimately coming into industry, having this level of experience under your belt, and you come in and you are stars, and we love you. So I would definitely say the shift in AI, in robotics, just within industry, there's a mixed bag of people. It's not just all men, it's not just all women either. It's a very diverse group of individuals, and so I've seen it change from when I first started to now.
And I was just gonna say, like, on the topic of AI, I feel like it's really important to have like a female, like, woman perspective, especially as AI becomes more like pervasive and in society, right? Because we want to make sure as AI like becomes more like larger, we're not like it's considering like biases that may not be there, that like may not be considered, because a lot of these things like women work involved in like the original creation, maybe some work, but not to the same level. Like you might have a neural network that's trained and it might not see women the same way that it sees men or things like that. So having your voice in those discussions is important.
So just to go back, AI definitely is going to change the world. That is given. Probably how, I don't claim to know. I think it's going to change we're going to see it in the next few years. But what is AI? It's more like gathering all the information and trying to collaborate it and maybe extrapolate it to some extent and provide. There are a lot of advantages to AI. So even at my company, the very basic low-level coding is now can be done by AI. So we have AI tools like copilots that allow you to do those things. So some of the work, the mundane kind of work, probably will be done. But there are many, like she said, there's many disadvantages because majority of the people who have fed the data to AI probably come from more male perspective than female perspective. So the answers that it gives should not be taken in the absolute sense of it. You should definitely consider your perspectives and make sure that the algorithms do learn from our perspectives as well.
Okay, I know lunch is going to wrap up pretty soon, and then I do want to leave some time for questions, so we do have, is this working? Okay. I do have one more question. If you had the chance to mentor a young girl today, what would be the most important lesson you'd want to pass on to her?
Be themselves, 100% probably is one of the most important. And try to figure out, I mean, I don't claim to say as a young girl, maybe a 15-year-old, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly. I mean, that's the honest truth, but you learn, and there is no absolution in any of this. At 15 years, you don't need to know everything that you're going to do in the future, right? Be yourself, start thinking inward and also exploring what's out there, and continue to change, continue to learn throughout your life.
I would add on to that just to remain curious. Curiosity is, I think, something that's underrated. It's how you explore, it's how you experience different opportunities, how you get access to different opportunities, ask questions. It might be annoying for me to say to grow your network because you're in high school and you're like, what network? What do you mean? You never know who you're going to cross paths with. The person sitting next to you in your calculus class might end up sitting next to you in a cubicle at your first job. You don't know. The person that you're roommates with freshman year in undergrad, you might end up, they end up standing next to you at your wedding. You build these relationships and you get out of these relationships or this network what you put into it. And I think being curious and being aggressive about growing a network and just meeting people and asking questions, you can never go wrong.
And yeah, I think just to add to that, I think just be confident in your abilities. I think, yeah, I think probably the same thing. So be confident in your abilities and explore everything. Like, especially when you guys go to college, like, there's so much that you can do in college, and like, it's fun. So,
And it's okay to change your mind.
yes, that too.
Yes, it's okay to change your mind.
Okay, great. Any last like words, lessons, anything else you want to share before we move on to questions?
No, I'm curious to hear what questions.
Yeah.
you have.
Okay, does anybody have any questions at all?
About anything?
Wow,
What about
that's surprising.
the online ones?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to preface that. The online QR codes won't work because the network right now isn't very good in the building. So if you have any questions, I can just walk up to you, and if you raise your hand. Okay.
I was wondering what your guys' first job in the field was and how you got that job.
My first job, actually, I graduated in the peak of the recession, so I didn't have any jobs. So my very first job is actually working for my professor, who happened, like I said, like her connections. So he was one of my advisors, and another professor had a company, so I worked for him. And then slowly, once you have that job, then you can find out. That's mine.
So my first job was actually with Stellantis. Back then we were called Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, FCA. I did an internship the summer before I graduated undergrad. Enjoyed it a lot, and then I actually applied for their CIE program. It's a rotational program. Highly recommend a rotational program because it gets you into industry and to really explore your various options. Because coming out of undergrad, you're not going to know what to do with your degree unless you've been in a very niche area. And so as a mechanical engineer, I was like, I can do anything. Well, what do I want to do? So that rotational program helped me see the various areas of engineering opportunities that I can get into, as well as non-engineering. And then from there, that's where I found my dream role and went into that exterior studio engineering role.
And so, first job ever, I worked at a cat clinic. First job in engineering, I did internships with GE Healthcare. So I did internships working in their diagnostic cardiology equipment and then surgical x-rays. And then I ended up at Ford after college. But yeah, so it's kind of like two different passions.
Oh, okay.
I was curious, where were you guys from, and what different colleges did you guys apply to, like, in your area, basically? And, like, how did you do in high school relative to that, I guess?
I can answer, but I don't know if that helps. I am originally from India, so I went to college in India. They said there is an engineering admissions test, and I scored pretty well, so I went to one of the public schools. I went to that school because I get to pay zero tuition. So that was one of my big reasons to go in there. But as far as I came here to do my master's, and I went to Purdue. Applied for a bunch of other schools, but Purdue was one of my favorites, so I picked that.
For me, I am a Michigan transplant. So I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and then after high school, I went to school in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina specifically. I wanted a change of scenery. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted just new experiences. Again, being curious about those opportunities. So from there, I ended up in Michigan because cars, automotive is here in Michigan. And you said something about high school.
Yeah, like, how did you do in high school, like, how did that impact?
Like grade-wise and stuff?
What?
Grades?
Yeah.
Or, okay. I would say like a B student, heavy on the B's, but you know, I got by and I was, again, involved in a lot. So, not a lot of people know this about me, now you all know. I was in junior ROTC while I was in high school. Let's just say I like to be organized, and having a bit of that militant aspect was nice. But again, being really good in math and just enjoying it. That was nice, so that helped me. By no means were my SAT scores anything to smile about per se, but you know, they still helped me get into a lot of my favorite schools that I wanted to go to, but ultimately I chose to go to school in North Carolina.
And then for me, I was also, I think I was a fairly good student in high school. I grew up around here. I grew up in Rochester, Michigan, so not too far. When I applied to college, I applied, I think, a lot of places actually. I applied a lot of places. I ended up at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, doing electrical engineering. And yeah, so when you get to college, pace yourself. High school is like, I assume you probably do a lot of extracurriculars, a lot of classes, and you're probably a great student. When you get to college, it's a different space. And like learning how to work, like set your own schedule and doing all those things. I would also recommend if you ever get the chance to do like study abroad, like I feel like that's all, I never did one and I always like kind of regretted it, but yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't know, I applied to a lot of engineering schools around the country. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
I have one. So growing up, when I was coming out of high school, I know one of the big, we'll say degrees or paths was mechanical engineering. There was a big need around the 2014 time period for MEs. So in your industries, right, what would you say is the big niche right now or the big degree that your industry is looking for and that you would recommend somebody to go into?
As someone who recruits annually, there is a big need for computer science degrees, computer engineering background. ICT is one that's always very, very strong, so information technology. And electrical engineering. I think electrical engineering is that, or electrical and mechatronics, because both of them give you the software and hardware side of things, and it kind of just, it's like the new mechanical almost, because everything is electrical. Everything that you touch, everything that you do, these smart boards in classrooms, you know, your phones that we're walking around with every day, you can really span a lot of different industries with those degrees.
I'm gonna second electrical engineering. Yeah, I feel like it's still a huge, and I think the cool thing about electrical engineering is that you span a lot of different disciplines. So you can learn controls, you can learn circuits, you can, and that's all underlying technology. I think with computer science is an extension of it. It's kind of like a level up from that too.
So while I understand the spirit of your question, I also want to caution saying by the time these students get into the job market, I don't think any of us can really claim to know what is going to be popular or important. But I also want to say you can go into, I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer, but I went into IT and I went into quality, now I'm in management. So there is no thing that you can't do, and your education is not a limiting factor. So I would say get into an area where maybe first, if you're not sure to go into college, what area, maybe go into a very generic area, and then in college possibly decide what you want to get into. I'm telling this to you, my daughter started off wanting to go in engineering, and in college she switched to business major. Now she's doing dentistry in Philadelphia. I would not even have thought that she would go into this path. And I'm happy for her but I mean, it's a very scary thing as a parent. but still, that is the path she chose, and I would say explore and keep continuing to look into yourself and figure out what you want to do.
Anybody else? No? Okay, cool. My turn. I have a question. What's your why? It's why did you choose engineering specifically? Where do you choose to remain in it?
I'm not in engineering as much.
Or your STEM field in general?
I guess my why always is, am I happy going into work and spending my 8 hours doing what I'm doing? That's really what my why is.
My why goes back to, again, I think not seeing myself reflected in a lot of the engineering roles or in the fields that I was interested in when I was younger. And so I want to be that representation. But also to what she was saying about being passionate about it. I think having a passion behind what I do and what I can kind of leave as my legacy in the space is really important to me. And so my why is just to leave the place that I'm in better than what I found it.
And for me, I get, like you said, I think for my 8 hours a day, I like this idea that I can go in and solve real problems, and like use my engineering knowledge to really like fix things and solve problems and kind of change the way we work. So yeah, have an impact.
Okay, thank you so much. It's 12:58, so if anybody needs to get back to the pits, now is the time to beat the rush. Let's go.
Thank you all.
Thank you.